7-footers do not have it easy. They have to duck everywhere, they can't find clothes that fit, and getting somewhere unnoticed, it's virtually impossible. However, if you play basketball and are 7 foot tall, you're 100 times more likely to get drafted to the NBA than the average high school player. There are more than 30 7-footers in the league in 2025, and these are the 10 tallest players in the NBA right now. And at number 10, it's Rudy Gobert, who's far from short, but he's the shortest guy on this list. The Stifle Tower was measured at 7 feet and half an inch barefoot at the 2013 NBA Draft Combine, and 7'2" in shoes. Even though he wasn't super skinny like his countryman Victor Wembanyama, Gobert was still fairly thin, weighing 235 pounds, about 25 pounds less than he weighs now. But Gobert set the Draft Combine records for wingspan at 7 feet and 8.5 inches, and also for standing reach at 9 feet and 7 inches. However, those records were later broken in 2018 by Mohamed Bamba and then completely crushed by Taco Fall a year later. Fall was measured at 7'5" without shoes, with an 8'2" wingspan and 10 feet 2.5 inch standing reach, which means he can touch the rim without jumping. And tied at number 10, we have a guy that only hardcore NBA fans will know about. His name is Jay Huff, and he's currently a two-way player for the Memphis Grizzlies. Just like Gobert, Huff is standing at 7 feet and half an inch barefoot and 7'2" in shoes, with a 9'6" inch standing reach. Due to his size, Huff was a dominating force in the G League, where he won the Defensive Player of the Year in 2023. Huff played just 31 games in the NBA over the last 3 seasons, but he could definitely help the Grizzlies off the bench due to his height and shooting ability. This giant made 39% of his three-point attempts and a whopping 94% of his free throws, which is Splash Brothers territory. If he can bulk up and develop his all-around game, Huff could become a much more well-known name in the future. But unlike Huff, Dallas's extremely tall rookie quickly made a name for himself last season, helping the Mavs to reach the NBA Finals. The 9th tallest player in 2025 is Derek Lively II, who is 7'1" without shoes. And because he's also blessed with a 7'7" wingspan and agile feet, Lively is extremely switchable on defense and has the potential to be one of the best defenders in the NBA. However, as Charles Barkley likes to say,
but he's just too light in the cakes. I mean, he just a little light in the ass.
Needs to add more muscle to his frame. Lively was listed at only 230 pounds at the Draft Combine, but when he adds 20 or 30 pounds, the Mavericks will have an extremely dangerous pick-and-roll partner for Luka Doncic. And don't be surprised to see Lively finish many lob dunks in the future. But if Lively needs to add more carbs to this diet, then this next guy needs to double it. At number 8, we have the runner-up for the 2024 Rookie of the Year, Chet Holmgren. Chet is 7'1", and since he weighed just 210 pounds as a rookie, and because of his long, thin extremities, Holmgren looks even taller. The Thunder big man has a 7'6" wingspan and a 9'6" inch standing reach, which helped him average more than 2 blocks per game in his rookie season. And apart from his excellent defensive instincts, Chet's also a phenomenal shooter, with 53% efficiency from the field and 37% for 3 as a rookie. If he keeps getting stronger and stays healthy, OKC will be extremely dangerous for years to come with Chet as their defensive anchor. And at number 7, we have a player who just won an NBA championship with the Boston Celtics. And even though he's among the tallest players in the league, he's not even the tallest on his team. Luke Kornet is listed at 7'2", but this was when the NBA was still measuring players in shoes, so Kornet's probably closer to 7'1" barefoot. Just like Holmgren, Kornet has a 7'6" wingspan, but despite his elite size and length, Kornet struggled to find his place in the NBA, playing just 148 games in his first 5 seasons in the league. However, in the last few years, Luke finally settled in Boston, where he became a solid rotational piece thanks to his efficient scoring. And the guy Kornet usually replaces off the bench is another man mountain, sometimes known as the Unicorn, or simply KP. The 6th tallest NBA player is Kristaps Porzingis, listed at 7'2". However, the NBA now wants players' measurements to be without shoes, and at the 2015 Draft Combine, Porzingis measured at 7 feet 1 1/4 inches barefoot. Because of his size, a 7'6" wingspan, athleticism, and feathery shooting touch, Kevin Durant called Porzingis the Unicorn because he could do everything on the court and was one of the first players at his size who could shoot, dribble, and block shots.
Just like it's a unicorn.
The Latvian big man averages close to 20 points per game in his career, and if he wasn't often injured, he'd be a perennial all-star. But sometimes, just being tall isn't enough, and the number 5 player on our list is the prime example. Listed at 7'2", Moses Brown's barefoot height is the same as Porzingis's, 7 feet 1 1/4 inch. For the 23-24 season, Brown played for the Trailblazers, appearing in 22 games and averaging a modest 9 minutes per game. The Blazers didn't pick up his contract, and Brown is currently a free agent for the 2025 season, and it remains to be seen whether a team will sign him. The Blazers most likely won't, because they just drafted another guy who's even taller than Moses. At number 4 is Donovan Clingan, who's simply a colossal human being. Listed at 7'2" and 280 pounds, Clingan is a 2-time NCAA champion with UConn, where he dominated opponents in the paint, taking advantage of his size on both ends of the court. Because of his height and pterodactyl 7'7" wingspan and excellent defensive IQ, the Blazers selected Clingan with the 7th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, hoping that he'll be their starting center in the future. If Clingan's game translates to the NBA, it means that DeAndre Ayton will probably get traded in the next year or so, even though he just recently became a Blazer after the trade from the Suns. And speaking of the Suns, they have a giant on their roster who's a bit of a mystery, both as a player and in terms of height. On paper, he can do everything, handle the ball, shoot, and block shots, but in reality, it's a bit more hit or miss. He's the 3rd tallest player in the NBA, Bol Bol, the son of the tallest player ever, Manute Bol. And it's immediately obvious that the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Bol inherited the height and the thin frame from his father, but while his dad was listed at 7'7", Bol is slightly shorter, listed at 7'3". However, he might be even shorter than that, because at the 2020 NBA Combine, Bol was measured at 7 feet and 3/4 of an inch without shoes. With shoes, Bol's height was 7 feet 2.5 inches at the Combine, which was then rounded up to 7'3". However, at the 2017 USA U19 tryouts, Bol was measured at 7'2" without shoes, which sounds more accurate based on the eye test. But whether he's really 7'2" barefoot will probably remain a mystery, just like Bol's game. If you look at his highlights, you'd think he's an all-star, and yet he averages just 6 points per game in his career. And during the 2024 season, Shaq compared Bol to another freak of nature, who will probably become the best player in the NBA in the near future. Of course, we're talking about Victor Wembanyama. Wemby is listed as 7'4", and in shoes, he's 7'5", making guys like Rudy Gobert or Kevin Durant look small. However, when he's barefoot, which is something you can often see before the games during a stretching routine, Wemby is 7 feet 3.5 inches tall. Due to his athleticism, fluid ball handling, shooting touch, basketball IQ, and strong work ethic, Victor will become unstoppable, especially when he adds a bit more muscle to his frame. Wemby weighed just 210 pounds as a rookie and had trouble establishing position against stronger players who were able to push him around. However, at the start of the 24-25 season, the Spurs listed Wembanyama at 235 pounds, and those extra 25 pounds should help him fight other NBA giants in the post. But when he adds another 25 or 30 pounds and gets to 260, that's when the NBA will really be in trouble.
How do you say churro in French?
Chiro, what is that?
It's a long donut.
What? I've never heard of that. All right.
And even though many think Wemby's the tallest player in the NBA, that's actually not the case, because Victor was overtaken by an upcoming rookie. Zach Edey is a 1/4 of an inch shy of 7'4", which was his barefoot measurement at the 2024 Draft Combine. Edey is a 2-time NCAA Player of the Year and the 2024 NCAA scoring leader, dominating in the paint for the Purdue Boilermakers, after which the Grizzlies selected him with the 9th overall pick in the 2024 NBA Draft.
The Memphis Grizzlies select Zach Edey.
However, despite his size, it's a question whether Edey will be able to withstand the pace of the NBA and be agile enough to be able to defend the pick and roll against much faster players. But with an enormous 7'10" wingspan and weighing over 300 pounds, Edey will be the biggest and the heaviest player in the NBA in 2025. Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, we've got another one for you right here.